Girl tonight. With your pretty eyes, just kidding. Great girl tonight.
Oh man, you need some headphones, bro.
You know I said just. You know I said just. Just.
Oh man, you need some headphones, bro.
You know I said just. Just. You know I said just. Said just.
Oh You need some headphones, bro.
You know I suggest it. Suggest it.
We say our goodbyes and light up like fireflies. 'Cause there's so many things left to explore. I don't wanna hold you back. Your heart is safe with mine, and I can't find the words to keep you, but I don't think I want to. 'Cause we're living it up for love, living it up for love. Just keep living it up for love, living it up for love. Whatever is good for you. Whatever is good for you. Tuesday, I'm all alone, but then you called the phone. You said, baby, I'm sorry, I'm on the road. I don't want to hold you back, but I know that you're coming home. I know that you're coming home. No words to keep you, but I know I don't have to. 'Cause we're living it up for love, living it up for love. Just keep living it up for love, living it up for love. Whatever is good for you. I'm good with it, I'm good with it. Whatever is good for you. Just take my heart and get carried away, get carried away. Protect your spine. I won't let it fade. No, I won't let it fade. Good. Whatever is good for you. I'm good with it, good with it. Whatever is good for you. I'm good with it, I'm good with it, I'm good with it, I'm good with
They say every day's a new day, live it like your last day. It's okay to feel great. Yeah. You're all jumping on a new wave. So much bad, but I stay stuck up in my old ways. It's so hard to unlearn habits we got addicted to, addicted to. I'm trying to change my life, but so much easier to say than do. Please help me. Please go easy on me. I can't believe it's so hard for me to see that deserve to feel happy now. So please go easy. Please go easy on me. Go easy on me. Go easy on me. Don't give me a hard time, just let me live my life in peace, my life in peace. Been broken a long time, don't remember the highlights of me, highlights of me. Oh, please help me, please go easy on me. I can't believe it's so hard for me to sleep that I deserve this. It's to feel happy now, so please go easy. Please go easy. So hard to addicted to. I'm trying to change my life, but so much easier to say than do. Please help me.
Leave the world around us. They don't need to know. Come find me where the sun sets and say you'll never let me go. You're the one I want. Stay and leave me. Don't go. I know you feel the same. Stay and leave me. 'Cause you'll always be my broken love. You'll always be my broken love. You'll always be my broken love. They don't know how we love when we're lying close. With you, I know I belong. Without all eyes on us, you're the one I want. Stay and leave me. Don't go. I know you feel the same. Stay and leave me. 'Cause you'll always be my broken love. You'll always be my broken love.
Hey, hello everybody, and welcome back to another Valhalla Campbell live stream. Ladies and gentlemen, you know it is Monday night, so you know what that means, that we are in for some high quality Fortnite, and we should be getting ready to go any minute now. All right, and just waiting here, and actually we are just about in. So just another couple seconds for us to actually switch on over. Tonight we will be watching 3 teams, of course, as we always do. Introducing those teams. Number 1, our primary team, we have Zfighters. That team is composed of Zarek, aka Zfight, and Gavin, aka Novel Movie. Sorry about that. Next up, we have the SixSeveners, and that team is made up of Matthew, aka Solar Rotten, or Cohen, aka 6 or 7. And finally, we have the VHCH Knights, and that team is composed of Cam, aka Kiki, and Trace, aka VHCH25. But we are officially dropping, so ladies and gentlemen, switch over to Fortnite. And again, starting off with the team, the Zfighters, hoping to see them do a little bit better this week than they did last week. Still very solid drops last week compared to this, or compared to other weeks in the past, but hoping that they can really turn it around. I don't really know how this team is doing season-wise. Obviously, this team is, again, composed up with Zarek and Gavin, so a very solid team, a very solid duo. We anticipate to see them do very well. Most of the time, they do very well. They get very consistent top 10s, if not even higher. So, looks like they're going to go to this unnamed gas station here and try to find as much loot as they can. And what we've seen with especially Zarek in the past is like to go to one drop spot, continue to go to that drop spot, really learn it and the area around, so that way you just constantly know what you're going to do and what you're looking for. I don't know if they're as familiar with this gas station as maybe they would like to be. Obviously, we'll have to continue to wait and see. Not a lot of loot here though. Gavin having some greens and a gray. Don't know what Zarek has in his arsenal, as Zarek is unfortunately having to play from home tonight. He's not feeling the greatest, so definitely going to give these guys a little bit of grace tonight. Again, playing from home through sickness. Zarek is an absolute grinder. We call him the laser beam around here, and I guarantee you will see some of that tonight. And in case this is your first time ever tuning in to a Valhalla Campo live stream, especially Fortnite, we have 3 teams we watch. We typically bounce around. So we'll watch the primary team for the majority of the time. But every once in a while, we'll switch over to the secondary team, and then, of course, switch over to the third team just to see how everyone's doing. Keep an eye on everyone's drops and everything. And it looks like here we do have some other loot in mind here that it looks like Gavin is going to be picking up. They're going to continue to farm mats here. And while these guys continue to loot up, we're going to swap on over to the 6-7ers and see how those guys are doing early on in this drop. Alright, again, we have the 6-7ers, aka Matthew and Cohen here. Currently, looks like they go to pop. Currently, looks like they have gone to Pump Power, which is a drop spot we've seen out of them quite a few times, and it's actually kind of surprising that they just continuously get this drop spot so uncontested. Don't have any kills yet this game, so completely have all of Pump Power to themselves. They're gonna have a lot of good loot and so much metal. These guys are gonna have max metal, no problem. They're gonna be asking for the other materials. We are currently watching Cohen's screen here. As he just continues to farm up that metal, and we're going to see him get to 500. We anticipate Matthew is not far behind as well. Maybe not ideal loadouts here for these two. We're seeing, at least on the side of Cohen, we're seeing a gray and then a green shotgun. We do see the movement item. We do see the cape, which obviously that being a very good movement item, be able to turn you into a bat. So we anticipate we'll see that more. And Cohen actually dropped the outlaw for this other shotgun. I'm not sure exactly which one it is, but a little bit of a crazy swap there. It goes from a green to a gray. Maybe dropping that first teammate, or maybe just likes the other shotgun a little better. We'll have to wait and see. Hopefully, Cohen can find a much needed rarity upgrade in his weapons. I'm taking a little peek here at Matthew's loadout. Matthew definitely being in a much better position. Obviously, him having that blue of the shotgun that both of them are carrying, and then the green, essentially AR. So Matthew definitely in a lot better position rarity-wise. Of course, you can always find some upgrades here and there, but Cohen desperately needs to find those before Matthew does. And we're going to continue to farm up here and get as much material as possible. And now Matthew having max brick and max metal. We assume Cohen not far behind him. We know he's max metal, can't be far behind him brick wise. And Matthew, excuse me, almost taking a lot of unnecessary damage. And they only looted half a pump power. These guys still have so much loot left to find in this POI. We anticipate that they will find that no problem. And we see the slurp barrels. That could be huge for those guys as they try to get themselves as close to 200 as possible. And we see some pom-poms coming out. Those are definitely new. Don't know what those do quite yet. So, typically, for those of you that are just tuning in, I at least try to have an understanding of what most of the items do. But sometimes when they drop new items and new seasons and stuff like that, I don't get to stay up to date as much. Because typically I don't play much Fortnite. I just watch these guys play and get to cast for you guys. So sometimes I'm a little bit slow on some of the items, and the pom-poms are definitely a new item for me. So we're gonna have to see what those do as we see this shotgun. It's called the Sentinel Pump. So, and finally here, while these guys continue to run around pump power, we're going to turn to our final team, the VHCH Knights. This team is composed of Cam and Trace. Currently watching Trace's perspective as he is VH Campill 25 and Cam being Kiki. It looks like these guys dropped at Supernova Academy. And actually these guys already have some kills, already taking out another duo. So a really good way for them to get their game started is they're going to get a bunch of wood here. And Trace is actually going to go down into this hidden basement area. I gotta find some more loot. Oh, pardon my yawn there. Able to find some metal here as well. These guys definitely making sure they can have as much loot as possible. And again, very little contest from these named POIs, which is something that we're not very used to seeing. Obviously, Cam and Trace already do have one kill each, eliminating a duo, but just able to take so much time and to loot this POI to the fullest of their heart, 610. And we are going to go back to our primary team to see how those guys are doing and seeing if they're keeping in the action. Alright, back to the Zfighters, back to Gavin's perspective here. And it looks like we missed a kill here from these guys, but Zfighters, not a super aggressive, but a little bit more of an aggressive team than we're going to see from some of these other teams. So hopefully we'll at least get to see some kills from them. And it looks like these guys have a way to go to Storm. This is a very normal thing we've seen from this team. Make their way in circles, kind of survey the map as they drive around in the car here. Don't know if someone potentially saw a player there. Looks like they're just going to avoid brutal box cars. It looks like there could be a boss somewhere around. And they do see a couple cars. Actually, it's two. Gavin going to decide just to get out as soon as possible. Trying to survey the area. Don't see anything. And what an interesting play there from Zarek is he throws the shield bubble grenade on top of the car, which is able to circle the car. So the car essentially impenetrable. Can't take any damage from bullets unless someone is right on top of them. And we're seeing kills go off in this lobby. So we know action is happening. We're just missing it, unfortunately. But hopefully the Zfighters can turn that around for us. As they're going to find another gas station to pick dry here. Some shots fired right at their car, actually. Gavin does take a bullet there. He actually takes a couple. They finally decide to get out. All of that gas, all of that, everything on their car just gone to waste as the car explodes. And now they might have to take an engagement here as someone is very close to them. Gavin does get a couple shots, does take quite a bit of damage though. He's down to 54 green health. He has to be careful. Zarek has to buy him time. Zarek also being very low. This engagement could not go well for these guys. Gavin should be miniing up here while he has the second, but decides not to. Maybe a little bit of a misplay here from Gavin as he's not using either one of his heals, which do not take very long. He has bandages and he has the minis, but he's deciding not to use either of them. So we see Zarek now finally deciding to heal, and it looks like Gavin's going to follow his lead. And this other team's still knocking on the door here. Gavin's able to use at least one mini, get himself back up to 100 health. Zarek at 150, although Gavin takes a big shot. He takes another one, and they're surrounded. Gavin's going to fall. Zarek's going to fall shortly after. And just like that, our primary team is unfortunately eliminated, and we will move on to the secondary. The kind to drop those guys wanted to have. And I don't know if it's me, I don't know if it's a caster curse, but every time we tune into one of these teams, they get eliminated by that Deem guy. I just maybe it is a version of the caster curse that I'm doing to these guys, and just a little unlucky. We've seen that guy kill many of teams on our stream. And hopefully we don't see it again. We see Matthew and Cohen here. Now this time they're surveying the map. Looks like they're potentially already in that circle. So these guys are going to have a lot of time as they make their way to the outskirts of Utopia City here. Decide not to do anything. There is a car driving right below them. They could potentially take this engagement if they wanted to. Matthew's going to get out, try to find some players. Doesn't see anybody's head quite yet. Does take a couple shots, saw that he was still in the car. And they're just going to drive away. As the shots with the Spire rifle just were not falling. Not good enough. And Matthew and Cohen are just going to go on their way. Do see someone gliding in around them. Decide not to check it out. I'm going to get in the outskirts here of this circle. Could potentially sit and wait. See where the next zone goes. They're going to be on the edge here of Demon's Domain. It looks like these guys are going to try and keep their mats about as full as they can, which is very normal for these two, especially as we are transitioning into these mid and late game scenario here that we are in, definitely in the more later middle game. And didn't have far to go for a new circle here, so just going to make their way on the inside of that. Probably just hang out, survey the circle a little bit, potentially try and find some high ground. This is something that Matthew and Cohen do exceptionally well. Try to pinpoint those high ground areas as they see a car, just do a Fast and the Furious jump right across their screen. Decide not to take the engagement, but they are pretty low gas here, and it looks like a lot of teams could be in Utopia City now. They do not want any part of that, but they are still chasing this car. So they could want a piece. Doesn't look like they are going to look for that engagement. They are just trying to get out. Fortunately, this isn't just a little body of water. This is a whole bridge and ocean here that they got to cross. And unfortunately, their car just ran out of gas. And now, completely exposed here, these guys have to try and get up on the bridge. Actually, Matthew decides to box up here. Gonna chill underneath the bridge. Hope they don't get pushed by another team. As these guys continue to sit and wait, and we continue to see that Dean player just eliminate players from Valhalla and Campbell. We just saw him do another duo. Fortunately, not a duo that we're watching tonight, but wow. And these guys are just going to do the cone trick to try to get as much information as possible as they continue to sit under this bridge. And luckily for these guys, they're actually pretty much right in the middle of this new circle here. So they really can just sit and wait and potentially see any team that falls down, decides to try to take the quieter route underneath the bridge and see if they can't catch them. These guys just gonna do what they do best. Hold an area and look for any poor soul that comes their way. And we are very quickly getting down to low numbers here. Only 16 players remaining, 18 counting this team of the SixSeveners. These circles are going to start to get small and small. A lot of combat going on around them. We see that in the visual audio. Matthew here potentially takes a shot. Doesn't hit anyone. Decides to just put the cone back. And unfortunately for these guys, they have to go into this new circle here. And they're going to have to go for a little swim. Luckily, it's not a very far swim. And they actually see someone that is going to try and take the ground. Although Matthew, with an absolute dome of a shot, is going to find the knock. And he's going to eliminate that player. Cohen didn't even have time to react before the player was killed. guys need to be careful of that building up on top of that mountain. As it looks like they're going to try and hijack this car here, as it does have quite a bit of gas. They're able to use this to their advantage. And it looks like they're going to go into this high ground. Going to take a lot of damage here, and the car is gone. Matthew takes so much damage from that explosion as he gets knocked. Cohen's still up. Matthew's thirsted. And if it isn't by yours truly, Deem, how do we keep watching this guy eliminate our players? Cohen's got a lot to do, and at this point, he has to do it by himself. He's going to drink a big here. Although maybe a little bit of a misplay could have potentially gotten some of those minis that were on. Never mind, they didn't fall down the hill, so still up top. As Cohen is just going to sit right on the side of this hill, just maybe an inch within that circle. Storm will not be affecting him quite yet. As you can see, he is snugging himself into this corner pretty much as close as he can get to make sure he stays out of it. And unfortunately for him, he just has an inch of room, just a smidgen, that he can just sit on in there and wait. But he's got a max circle pull here, so he has a long way to go. And as soon as Storm starts, he's going to have to move, and it's going to have to be quick. Luckily, he does have the movement item, so he will be able to turn into a bat to potentially take himself some part of the distance. So he's going to edit here to get ready for it. And here he goes. Tries to survey the area before he starts moving here. And I would anticipate that once he starts taking some gunfire, we're really going to see him use that misform. We see so much going on in front of him, trying his best to kind of stay low here, try not to get seen. Somehow, no shots have been taken at him yet. Oh, and there's a big sniper shot that hits him, takes him down to 89 green health, and he's out of shield. He has to close this gap with the misform, but he's going to go right into combat here, and unfortunately is going to get taken out by Deem. And finally, we will see how the VHCH tonight are doing and if they're still alive. And it looks like they might be here. A crazy amount of loot that these guys have. Unfortunately, these guys are going to get scanned here. And just like that, Cam is going to fall quick. Luckily, Trace able to use the misform there to get out of it. Does take a couple shots there. He's going to try his best to keep this high ground. Going to have to use it again here. Is taking a couple shots, but still has a lot of time here. Still has a lot of health, realistically. He's going to try and get out again. Gets below this bridge, but not all the way down. He's actually in a really decent spot here. He's able to take some shots at someone. He does get a knock. As he tries to get high ground there, but he whiffs it a little bit. Unfortunately, falls down potentially a couple feet. Definitely did not want to be down that far, but does get a bunch of damage on that player and does finally find the elim for his earlier knock. And Trace just continuously having to go so far. He's doing a good job here trying to keep height. He's going to take a lot of shots. He does hit 51 with that micro SMG, but has to continuously build here And unfortunately for Trace, he doesn't have a lot of builds left, so has to be aware. He's going to use that miss form. Can he make it to the bridge? And he does. But someone right in front of him, he has to take this engagement. Does decide just to sit here for the time being. Does have someone right below him, though, as we see that bus just get obliterated. And he uses that misform again. Decides not to go off the bridge quite yet, but doesn't see that there's someone above him. He's going to fall all the way down. And now he's going for a little swim, but he's out of mats. And unfortunately for Cam and Trace, those guys are going to fall just short, but a phenomenal third place. Such a good drop from Cam and Trace there. Something that, honestly, they're probably a little frustrated about, especially with the way that it all happened. But overall, especially placement-wise, cannot argue with that third place. Obviously, that is phenomenal. A very well placed for them to get, especially in this first drop. Hopefully they can keep a lot of this positive momentum and take it into drop number 2 and look for a very similar place. But most of our teams today doing pretty well. Honestly, Zfighters fell probably a little shorter than they wanted to. I know that's a team that's very competitive and expects themselves to do very well. So, obviously, definitely a little tough for those guys. But again, Zarek playing from home through sickness. So, realistically, that just shows the dedication. Not only Zarek's dedication to the game, but the kind of dedication that we teach here and we expect out of our players when it comes to taking esports seriously and competitively. But since we are in between drops, you guys know that we always start back with our primary drop. So I'm just going to stop talking here for a second and get back into their Discord. Alrighty, sorry about that, but yes, we expect very similar, if not better, results for every single one of these teams. Although for Cam and Trace, that will be a hard result to beat, as they have to get better than third. And I'm not much of a numbers guy, but you only got 2 places above third. It's either second or first. And of course, everybody wants wins. You want to get your first places every single time, but that's a tough feat, especially against some very top talent that we see here in the Valhalla Esports League. So it really will depend on these guys and how they are able to take control of their game here. I know the fighters will want a better place that next drop. And realistically, I think the SixSeveners are probably going to be just as hungry. Those guys did actually pretty well. I think they got, 10th or 9th or 11th or somewhere right around there, 12th maybe. But honestly, that's a very solid drop. Now, probably not to the point that they're happy with. Obviously, most of our students and players here want to see first places, want to see second places. They want to do very well, but realistically, we're gonna lose points here. We're gonna fall drops, and it's about minimizing those things and being consistent in those kinds of things. So even though Zfighters and the SixSeveners maybe didn't do as well as they would have preferred, as well as they maybe would have wanted to, we will definitely see them pick it back up this next drop. And I can't give enough credit to Cam and Trace here, as they got a third place. And again, just a little unfortunate with how that drop actually ended, how the drop ended for them, just running out of builds and having to go in the water. Obviously, you never want to fight in the water, especially with no builds, but only so much you can do on that front. So these guys are definitely going to make sure that that does not happen for drop number 2. So, just while we wait to get into the lobby here, as you guys know, and I always apologize, Fortnite, in between games, there's a little bit of a delay while we're getting the drops up and get everybody in. And of course, drop codes are live, so we should anticipate that these games should be started probably within the next couple minutes, probably 5 max. So hopefully people can start to filter in here, and we'll get everything underway. If you have problems And just got the update. It'll be about 5-6 minutes, so somewhere around that time. But just in case you were just now tuning in for the first time ever or the first time tonight and you're wondering what teams we are watching and what is the order, our primary team tonight is the Zfighters. That team is composed up of Zarek and Gavin. Again, for those of you just tuning in, Zarek being Z-Fight and Gavin being Novel Movie. Our secondary team is the SixSeveners. That team being composed of Matthew, aka Solar Rotten, and Cohen, aka 6 or 7. And finally, our third, our tertiary team that we will be watching tonight is the VHCH Knights. That team is composed of Cam, aka Kiki, and Trace, aka VHCH 25. So, as we see this lobby here, you guys can't see it yet, but I can see very quickly fill up. So, maybe a little bit of a gosh, I really brain farted there on that word. Maybe a little bit of a quicker drop than potentially having to wait the whole 5 minutes. Expedited, there it is. So anticipate 8:05 drops. So right now, if you guys don't want to look at me and listen to me yap for another 4 minutes, go to the bathroom, get water, you get some food, get some grub, maybe some popcorn. Popcorn would hit so hard right now, I can't even lie. But do what you need to do. Take care of yourself. Make sure that you come back by 8:05 and be ready to see some intense, action-packed Fortnite duos from yours best here at Valhalla Camp Hill. I know I'm ready. Hopefully you all are ready. And honestly, I just, one of my favorite things about getting to do this is obviously, I get to come in here and I get to interact with the kids and that kind of stuff, but I just get to watch top tier gameplay. There's nothing more fun in my opinion than watching some top tier esports, whether that be Fortnite, whether that be Valorant. Obviously, I coach Rocket League, so really just being able to come in here and get to watch it and get to share my knowledge. And everything that is going on with all of you, the lovely parents at home that maybe don't know a lot about the game or want to support your kid but don't truly know how. Obviously, we here at Valhalla Camp Hill do our best to make sure that, one, everyone feels welcomed, but two, to make sure that we are pushing all of our students not only to be the best version of themselves they can be in the game, but also the best version of themselves outside of the game. And I think that is such the key point, such a crucial aspect that Valhalla does differently. As we continue to wait for this drop number 2. I'm very excited. I know you guys are very excited. And just get ready to go here. We should be dropping within the next minute or two, if I had to guess. I was about to say I'm not a gambling man, but I am. So got me there. Currently, again, just waiting. And I wanna point out something that I know we haven't done in a little while, and it's just been a little awkward with the timing and everything. We used to do, specifically with Fortnite, we used to listen in on the player comms and see how they were doing mid-drop, but we really haven't found ourselves in time where that's been reasonable yet, so you guys will kind of have to excuse me for not doing that. But ladies and gentlemen, we are officially in to drop number 1, so let's tune in and watch some good Fortnite. Welcome back, everybody that just came back from grabbing your grub, from grabbing a little snacky, from taking a little potty break, maybe getting a little fresh drink of water. We are currently in drop number 2, watching the Zfighters, aka Zarek and Gavin. Currently watching Gavin's perspective as Zarek is home, grinding, battling through his sickness. Looks like here they actually could be going to the same gas station. Not totally sure, as I don't Haven't gotten to see these guys drop that often. And it does look like they are going to the same gas station right on the bridge here. So, you know, this is something that I talked about earlier in the first drop. Zarek is very much a, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of player, and that's what he's gonna do. That's what him and Gavin are gonna do. They're gonna go to this gas station. They know the loot. They know where to run. They know all the patterns, and they're gonna get as much loot as possible here and follow where they want to go. As we see some players already getting eliminated. Wow, a lot of early action going on in this drop, and by that I mean just a singular duo, but some early action going on in this drop. So we see Gavin find the Spire rifle and the Sentinel pump there. We know Gavin's definitely probably going to be comfortable with both of these weapons. We're going to see him have very good rarity already. And actually, I stand corrected. There is a lot of early action going on in this job as we see that kill feed just absolutely popping off while these guys are farming away. We see these guys shielding up here already, both at 150, and actually Zarek is going to get to a quick 200, which is going to allow, actually Gavin's also going to get to a quick 200, which is going to allow these guys to really take control of their game here. One of them going to be able to carry shields, and they should be all go. Oh, sorry, excuse me. They should be well off here into the middle and later stages of this drop as they see another big, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. And Zarek just lets the car hit the chest and says, I ain't getting out. I'm gonna let the car do the work for me. And it looks like now as both of them jump out, gonna farm up a little bit of wood here. Not a lot of mats, especially for Gavin. Obviously, we don't know exactly where Zarek is at, but Gavin has to do a little bit better job prioritizing mats here. And we do see the mist form, but he's actually gonna leave it in the scanner, and we see him leave that as well. He is going to drop the mini for the misform, but not picking up the scanner is very surprising, or at least paying it for his teammate. And anticipate we would see at least one of them carry that, but potentially neither of them. And it looks like Gavin there potentially wanted to start splitting that gap of the body of water, but decided to go back, farm some of these rocks to get some brick. He's probably going to grab the car here. Yes, he does. And now he's going to make his way to his teammate. And while these guys are doing well, are going to continue to loot up and farm up here, we're going to take a peek into the SixSeveners and see how those guys are doing so far in this drop. And again, we're seeing the same thing. Pump power uncontested. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Matthew already at 500 metal. Gonna try to get up as much brick as he can here. Definitely gonna hit 500 as the max. Cohen here falling a little bit behind. Only at about 200 metal. Needs to definitely close that gap, especially with how far Matthew is in front of him. But he's gonna be able to do that very quickly here at pump power. And hopefully Cohen can find a bunch of brick as well. He's able to find some wood because of the chest. And these guys are just going to pick pump power apart. Probably some loot that they haven't decided to go for yet. We saw a very similar thing last drop. And while these guys continue to pick pump power apart, we're going to tune into the VHCH Knights and see how those guys are doing early on in their second drop. So it looks like these guys are also at pump power. Well, might see a little bit of a div situation here where I believe Cam and Trace are in Div 2 and Zfighters and SixSeveners are in Div 1. That's something actually we haven't seen in a little while where we've seen multiple divs. It just worked out that the past couple weeks we've been watching a lot of Div 1, so these guys are pretty much going to do the same thing here, and pick pump power absolutely dry as Superman has landed, and we saw Trace there actually eye it up a little bit, potentially could decide for him and his teammate to go. Probably not gonna go, but definitely eyeing it up as it is not that far from them. We are seeing some kills pop off pretty early on in this drop as well. But someone else has claimed Superman, and these guys are going to continue to farm here. Although now, Cam and Trace have to be careful here because even though that they didn't go for Superman, they are not still far from it. So whichever team did decide to go for it could find themselves rotating the pump power, especially based off of just the amount of metal and brick that it has to farm up here. These guys could get pushed pretty early on. Haven't experienced anything yet like that, as these guys are going to do their best to absolutely farm here. As we see that kill feed still continue to pop off. So many kills going on. Still very early in this drop number 2. But while these guys are going to continue their farm, we're going to go back to our primary team of the Zfighters. And it looks like these guys here could be in a little bit of a bad situation as they're going to try and get out. Potentially some shots fired at these guys. We're going to see the mist form here. Gavin going to use it to gain a lot of ground. So it looks like these guys just going to rotate away. Zarek definitely leading in charge here. Gavin just being a little unable to close that gap. As he finally does. These guys are grouped up and ready to go. Ready to take an engagement if they have to. Definitely probably not health-wise where they want to be. Obviously you want to be at 200 pretty much as you can be. But not far off of it. We could see a med kit popped here from Gavin. Or one thrown to Zarek and one popped. Looks like we don't see anything quite yet. They're going to continue to wait here. We're going to go to another gas station. Potentially loot it to see if it has any extra meds or shields that these guys can use. They do find a chest, and Gavin does find a bag here. That is huge for them. Gavin's going to be able to use this. And with one of those medkits, going to be able to get back up to 200 health. But they do have a campfire right here. They could save their medkits, but they're going to get away from the campfire. A little bit of an interesting decision there. I know it would have used some of their wood, but a stoke or two, and these guys would have been able to bin full. Instead, we're going to have to see the potential waste of 2 meds here. Gavin does find another big, though. He's able to mark for his teammate. That is going to put Zarek back at 200 health. And looks like Gavin is going to switch out the mist form for the boom base gauntlets. And they're going to switch out the pom-poms for one of the mist forms, which we still have not seen what those have done yet. Zarek does see someone on top of the mountain over there. No shots fired just yet, and these guys are going to try and get away from that team's point of view. We see a bunch of kills there popping off. And 30 players left, 28 not counting the Zfighters. You guys are officially getting into that mid-game territory. It looks like they're going to get on top of this house. Potentially just sit and wait here. And the edit being ready for these guys. If they see someone, Gavin can find the edit, and Zarek can take a big shotgun shot, hopefully right to the dome. Decide to get out though. In the car and away they go. And so it looks like here they might drive up to Lone Wolf. And they are going to. Doesn't look like they're going to go in. Potentially just drive right on the outskirts. And actually we see in the kill feed Matthew and Cohen getting their feet a little wet. Their hands a little dirty. And dropping a duo wipe there. Very good for those guys. Definitely something that those guys need to do early on is get some of that momentum going for them. And loot-wise, these guys have got to be feeling good now. Obviously, we don't know exactly what Zarek is carrying. We know he's got a misform. And we know he's got some bigs. We don't know weapons or that kind of stuff. Gavin here we see doing very well. Doesn't decide to take any of that loot. Potentially could go into Flooded Frogs here. Need to be careful though. Could be a team lurking somewhere in here. Especially with some of the underground tunnels that lead into here. "23 players remaining, 25 counting the Zfighters." And actually, there's still some loot here for these guys to pick up. That circle is starting to get small here. Gavin looks like he could be surveying the map, potentially deciding on where he wants to go. He did mark a destination, so looks like they're going to get in this car and drive away here. Want to make sure that they're in a good spot for circle. We see Matthew and Cohen potentially finding another kill. I don't know if we missed the first one or if they just haven't cleaned it up yet. But those guys definitely get involved in the action. Unfortunately, we're missing a lot of it. Seen it in the kill feed, but hopefully Zarek and Gavin can start to partake in some of that as well. And they actually do see someone. Gavin gonna get out, gonna take a shot. He does miss, but he does find a couple more, and Zarek gets the knock. They're gonna take the elim. As just like that, ask and you shall receive. The caster cursed goes the opposite direction for once. And we see Gavin and Zarek pick up their first kill of the drop. And actually another player is on them and they're able to take that elim as well. Zarek gonna get credit for it. Now a duo wipe for Zarek and Gavin. And hopefully that's the kind of positive momentum that these guys need to play well in this late game. 21 players left, 19 not counting the Zfighters. And it looks like here, maybe not max storm pool, but quite a distance that these guys are going to have to travel. Luckily, they have 2 cars to choose from. It looks like they're each going to take their own car. Never mind, decided against it. They're going to get in Gavin's vehicle. And potentially some combat going on right in front of them. They do decide to drive a little bit away from it. But at this point in the game, it's kind of hard to avoid some of that combat. Luckily, because of the car, they are able to avoid most of it. We see everywhere they're going that visual audio just popping off with gunshots. As these guys drive into brutal boxcars here. Still some chests that were not looted. And actually some shots fired at Gavin. Luckily able to avoid most of them. Don't know if we got an eye on where that player was. A car coming from the other side of them. These guys are starting to get pinched. They have to be aware. Luckily, these guys have just been able to hunker down. Haven't needed to take any unnecessary engagements. Actually, some footsteps near them. Some footsteps right near Zarek. We see the misform. Gavin takes a bunch of shots, but unfortunately he isn't able to find them. So we see those builds there. Something. Oh, excuse me. This is something that both of these guys have to be very careful of, especially as these circles start to get tinier and tinier. And it looks like here they're going to have to go yet again, going to be able to get back in the car. And we're going to start that process. Rotating, making their way there. A little bit of an unlucky spot where they decide to go. And we do see the scan go off there. These guys are going to be able to stay away from it. We see another scan pop off there as well. Don't want to go in the tunnel. These guys are going to try and get high ground. Can they stay out of the scan? I believe they just were able to. As Gavin sees someone right below him, he's going to take some gunshots early on. He tries to find the kill, but he doesn't. The misform pops. And I think that player is just going to be able to escape by the hair of his chinny chin chin, but the footsteps are still there. Gavin sees him again. It looks like they're going to try and get out in the car here. Luckily for Gavin, Zarek saw the situation unfold. This man's a fortune teller. $18 players left, 16 not counting Zfighters. As we know, Matthew and Cohen are also still alive. These guys in the same division, so we could potentially see a fight going on between these two at some point. So it looks like it looks like Zarek and Gavin were actually getting chased here. They're going to take some gunshots. I believe that's what the pom-poms does, is it turns you into that mythical creature and allows you to move faster. And we see Owen again pop off and get another 2 kills, I believe that was. But he did just get knocked, leaving Matthew a lot to do. And unfortunately, Matthew and Cohen are gonna fall and gonna get eliminated. Gonna take 11th place in this drop. A very good drop for those guys. A lot of kills, even though placement-wise, probably not the best. Probably not what they were looking for, but definitely made it up for it in kills. And now as we get back to Zarek and Gavin here, unfortunately they do get marked. We're going to see that form again. And that potentially could be another Valhalla duo that Gavin was just shooting at right there. Is the car going to take a lot of damage here? These guys don't have a lot left, are going to decide to get out. And so much going on. This kill feed absolutely popping off. Zarek having to pop a mini, but he does have time to. Doesn't decide to pop one of his bigs though. We know he was carrying them, so unless he dropped them somewhere that I just didn't get to see, Zarek does have bigs, but decides to not drink one, potentially holding them off as we get into this later game. We do see the car get destroyed. These guys are going to have to start running. Zarek using the misform. Gavin using the base boost gauntlets. As looks like these guys aren't going to have an option. They're going to take this engagement. And Zarek absolutely laser beams someone to find the kill to be able to take this high ground. That's why we call him the laser beam, ladies and gentlemen, because that's what he does. Doesn't matter if this guy's sick and playing from home. He still got it. Another player, though. Gavin does take a lot of damage there. Luckily, he does have some minis. Is able to get back up to 50 with just one. And right on the edge of Storm, these guys are going to move in slowly here. Needs to make sure that they don't split up. Gavin takes a lot of damage from behind. Luckily, he's able to build up behind himself. Gavin and Zarek are very close to each other, but not exactly. Gavin going to fall. And unfortunately, we don't have Zarek's perspective, so we can't see it. And if it isn't anyone but Deem, how is this guy all over the map in one time? Zarek just a big chilling down here, waiting for all the fighting to go on above him. 8 players left means that there is still a solo player. Zarek doing his best to rat here and try to get his team as many placement points as possible. But unfortunately, he's got to go, and it's across the water, and that's never what you want to happen. Luckily, he's able to build up pretty quickly, though. And absolutely hits for 98 on that player that he's ramping right towards. Does take a big shotgun shot there, but finds one himself. Is able to get height, but unfortunately for him, gets eliminated. And of course, it's by Deem. Is there anyone that guy doesn't kill? And unfortunately, I believe all of our matches are over. So, just like that, some very good placements, some very good drops. Unfortunately, no first place on stream tonight, but that does not discount how amazing those drops were. We saw a third place from Trace and Cam. We saw another third place from Zarek and Gavin. Just phenomenal Fortnite we saw tonight. Could not be happier with some of the matches that we saw get played. Just absolutely amazing. Typically, you guys know we like to do the coach, typically you guys know we like to do interviews after our games. I know the past couple Fortnite nights we haven't really been doing it, but maybe as Fortnite is very quickly wrapping up here, we could potentially grab at least Coach Kyle and get a little talk into his mind if he's not too busy. I know he is currently kind of wrapping some things up here, but see if he is maybe got a minute or two to step into the booth. So it looks like maybe. Oh, and he does, and here he makes his way up, ladies and gentlemen, to the booth. as Coach Kyle prepares the legacy of himself as he slowly. Honestly, we should have saw a Gritty as he made his way up to the
really
booth.
should've.
You guys wouldn't have seen that.
I
but
really should have grittied. I don't know why I didn't do it, but
exactly.
What's up, Coach Christian?
Coach Kyle, welcome to the booth.
dude, glad to be back.
And how are you feeling after that night of Fortnite?
I'm okay. I'm okay. There's a lot. I think that like over the last couple games, in the last couple weeks, if you guys can't hear the commotion of people leaving, it's a lot, right? It's beautiful. There's a lot that we're just kind of working on to sharpen and rebuild. So I'll be honest, I'm feeling okay. A lot of what I'm seeing is the growth. What I hope is the growth towards new, better heights.
Correct.
That's like one of the big things. Right?
Yep.
We have been talking about and harping with the boys. They have to be not passive, they have to be not aggressive, but they have to be assertive about what
Correct.
they're doing, and they have to make plays. Like they should happen to the game shouldn't happen to them.
Yes, yeah.
Right. And so what you're seeing is like Brady and Parker, for example, with like 9 kills, but an 11th place placement. So we're adding that element of like getting more kills, being a little bit more assertive on the map, and like what we like to do with our placement and our positioning, but that comes with the added growing pains of having to experiment with stuff. So I am feeling all right.
Yeah,
That's how I'm
absolutely. And I want to shout out. We saw 2 third places. We saw
Yes.
Cam and Trace third place, and Zarek and Gavin third place.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about? I mean, Cam and Trace just new to Valhalla. So
Yes.
one, how are you feeling about that? And Zarek and Gavin.
So let's talk with Cam and Trace first. That is a team that is driven by the two of them are really good at aiming. They're really good at being aggressive. They are really good at handling fights. They're not shy about fights, which is so funny because if you meet Cam and Trace, they are very reserved. They're maybe a little bit more quiet than our usual kiddo. They're very content to hang out to themselves. We lovingly have dubbed them the Assassins. I believe one of our other Valhalla students looks and goes, "Hey, coach, it's John and Wick." And so, which is exactly kind of how they operate, right? They're very under the radar, but they're very capable fighters. But what we're finding with Cam and Trace is that talent, that mindset of being able to tackle and really just sort of jump into things makes it so there's a lot of room to grow, because there's some stuff like we're still working on comms for them. Sometimes they're like, oh, they don't call out where their shots are going or where they're supposed to rotate. Sometimes one of them will make a fight, the other one won't make a fight. Some of them sometimes one of them will go do something, and then it'll be about 30-40 seconds before they're like, oh, I should tell my partner. And you're like, yeah, you should, buddy. Yeah, you should.
That
So
makes the most sense.
it does, but like for them to be so new to Valhalla and already taking to it, like I'm sitting there like, yes,
New
good,
prodigies in the works.
ooh. The assassins are mine.
Yes.
And then in terms of Gavin and Zarek, I just there's so much I could say about like how little I care what their placement is, because the attitude that those two display every time they play is so positive. Their work ethic is so strong. Zarek is sick tonight.
Yes.
His mom emailed. She was like, hey, Zarek has a fever or something. He's sick and he's not going to be here and he's probably not going to play. And Gavin just goes, coach, Zarek's in Discord. And I'm just like, my man, like he will have to be actually dead to stop playing. And Gavin too has just been like, the thing with Gavin that I'm so proud of him for is he keeps taking risks, which is so unlike him and unlike the young esports athlete that he was at the beginning of his tenure with us. And like, we're really trying to get him to take more risks and to be more confident in taking those risks. But like, from where I'm sitting, I'm like, yeah, dude, heck yeah, take those risks, take those fights, let's go.
Absolutely.
And, and again, they firmed it up. They go to third place. Like, I love the finish. That's great. I love the placement. That's great. I love the points. That's great. But ultimately, that's a team whose mindset and whose growth as people just continues to impress me. And they could have gotten 500 with negative 20 kills, and I've been like, you know what, cool, this is everything that I hoped and dreamed it would be. So
And finally here I want to ask, we kind of touched upon it, you kind of touched upon it, but Zarek, home, sick, playing from home, still grinding. When it comes to the commitment that we and those kinds of things that we teach these kids, what does it mean to you as his primary coach to see that level of commitment?
I would love to say that I can claim all of the credit for it, but I'm going to give Zarek his flowers and be like, this is, obviously it's some good coaching, right? I mean, we'll give ourselves a little bit,
maybe a little,
but let's be real here for a second. Like you can't teach that.
Correct.
And so for me as a coach to be able to experience that, or like Logan is another great example. Logan and Lachlan has been really doing stuff. I'm going to give Micah a shout out, who had to play solo today because his teammate was missing, or Parker and Brady, who just continue to like put out really solid, really strong finishes. Like, I would love to say that I could claim all the credit for that, but ultimately it's these boys who are really trying to work hard and who are dedicated to it. And as a coach, there really is truly nothing I love more. Like, that's awesome. Like, it's my job, I think, to give them the space to succeed. Whether they succeed is up to them. So they've taken that and run with it. So
absolutely. Well,
yeah,
Coach
I
Kyle,
love it,
thank you so much for your time up here.
sir.
Congratulations on some good
Thank you,
Fortnite
thank
tonight.
you.
And of course,
We'll
always
feel
look
good.
forward to seeing you back up
Hey,
here.
we're in the postseason next week, baby.
Exactly.
Let's go.
Exactly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are quickly coming to an end here. So, you know what that means. We will be back probably Thursday for Valorant. You guys will have to deal with me again, but obviously I love casting Valorant. So keep an eye out for streams. Turn those notifications on if you haven't already, and hopefully you guys got to see some good Fortnite. From myself, Coach Christian, and everybody here at Valhalla and Camp Hill, thank you guys so much for supporting us, and good night, everybody.